Tacloban City for the Candlelight Memorial global broadcast. And with us in the studio now is Marco Boasso, Chief of Mission for IOM in the Philippines. Welcome, Marco.
Thank you so much.
It's great to have you here.
It's good to be here, and thank you for this opportunity and this effort. I understand I'm not the first, and it's important to notice that we have all in many ways been together participating within this program, and this is the first time that we all head of agencies have the opportunity to talk to you and to talk to the people and explain a little bit of what we have been contributing to. So thank you so much for giving us also to IOM this opportunity.
Not at all. And Marco, can you tell us a little bit about what does IOM do, what kind of work you do, and what have you done since Typhoon Haiyan?
Perfect. IOM works with partners such as the ones we work here, UN agencies, NGOs, all around the world, and one of our main mandates, or within our mandates, is assisting displaced population, particularly those that have been affected by natural hazards. This is something that we have been doing very has a growing area of work for us for the last 10 years. So we were certainly very much involved in Haiyan. We have been working here in the Philippines in a variety of projects. Majority of them linked to assisting populations displaced by natural hazards in the days of Sandong, Washi, Bofa, Trami, and etc. We also are and were involved, and we have kept a presence always in Zamboanga, was also Bohol, and in Mindanao, always with the aim of tackling displacement from an angle of internal migration, which is very much part of what we do.
And I think that when we talk about migration and particularly displacement, there's a very upsetting sense for some people to be unable to return to your home, whether it's from a conflict or a disaster like this one where people have lost their homes. Can you comment on that at all?
Sure, this is probably one of the worst situations around the world. Displacement, unfortunately, is a growing phenomenon, and we have it. You know, something that the humanitarian community has been focusing very much in the last 15, 20 years is displacement or displaced populations by a conflict. Lately, we are looking more into other causes of displacement, and IOM, for instance, we look a lot into natural hazards. We look a lot in environmental displacement, people that have to or need to move away from their homes for environmental degradation and for the climate change. So this is, let's not be surprised that this exposure that we are getting, not IOM, that the work that we do assisting populations displaced by natural hazards will continue and will grow, because natural hazards they have always been there, but have become more crude, more devastating, and also the international community has rampantly shifted to assist these populations. Before that, the assistance was a little bit more ad hoc, but since the inception of OCHA, with a strong role, the very important role of the emergency relief coordinator, the very important role of the principals, the ISC, natural hazards has occupied a top place in the agenda of all international organizations and partners, national, international NGOs, including private sector. That was an important part of the Haiyan response.
So Marco, can you tell us about the initial challenges that IOM faced here in the Philippines in the aftermath of Haiyan, and can you give us an assessment, or can you assessment of what the conditions are after a year?
Look, suffering is impossible to measure, and talking about improvements is relative, because you always have those that have and are still grieving their losses, and that's something that we need to keep very much in mind when we talk about what we have done or what has been done. But I can tell you something very much. We claim no credit. What has been done by the people of the Philippines. I have recently, IOM is reviewing its humanitarian policy. We have done a series of interviews. One of the things that I majorly said as a lesson learned is the resilience of the Filipino people, this capacity to rebuild, to research from almost nothing, and we learned a lot about that. that makes our challenges easier. I've been around a little bit, 25 years, and I've been in many places, and I find working with affected populations in the Philippines much more easier than in many other places. They have a sense of community organization, they have a sense of readiness, they have a sense of response, and certainly our government partners have played an immense, amazing role. Our main is DSWD, with whom we work very closely. And I tell you, this is one of the most impressive, and mind you, I'm not using the word recovery in an orthodox way, but more in a colloquial way. One of the most impressive recoveries I've seen, and this includes many other big hazards in which I've been working.
Fantastic. And Marco, you mentioned, I think, a really crucial thing, which was about the people's capacity to respond, but also what we as international staff can learn from the Filipinos themselves. Can you talk a bit about that? What do you think we've learned from Haiyan?
I think that one of the things that we've learned is how quickly the community itself has the capacity to regroup, to reorganize themselves from nothing, as we saw that was Tacloban and other places too, but Tacloban is particularly known as completely break of everything, and how people pretty quickly get together, get with relatives, with friends. They have their own, I would say, their own system, and that is extremely helpful. In our work, we did a lot of capacity building, we did a lot of training, we helped populations with a lot of things, but we were very much helped by being guided by the population, which is an amazing feature when you have someone that tells you, look at this, look at that, go here, go there. People that have numbers, that have figures, that has lists of individuals is something very unique. That at least for me, I don't know the colleagues how they feel, but again, I will say I've been around for 25 years, and this is a very impressive capacity. It helps us also, to work with them. It is easy to work with them. It is easy to communicate. I was in one of our trainings, and I certainly do not speak Tagalog, but I can tell you, you could understand perfectly well what the trainer was saying, and we were training people in building back better and safer, and with some risk reduction features for the transitional shelter, and we were just astonished. We were sitting there without speaking a word of Tagalog and understanding almost everything that the trainer was telling to the communities. It is a really, to me, basically the most impressive feature. And I have also to say and to recognize is an impressive system that the government has in terms of tackling their response. Let's not forget, this is the major typhoon has ever landed in our planet, if we can call it that, or in any country. And I've seen other responses. I said comparisons are always bad, but this was, in my opinion, and the opinion of many other good observers and experienced observers, this was the fastest response ever seen in similar or equal situations. That's not said by me, but you can get this information from the net, and many have said this.
Absolutely. And I understand that IOM is working quite heavily in the northern parts of Tacloban, particularly in an area called Tagpuro, which for our international viewers is a barangay or a village to the north of the city, and it's an area where a lot of people are being relocated to from the dangerous areas along the coast that are very vulnerable. Can you tell us a bit more about the relocation and what work IOM is doing there?
Absolutely. Tagpuro is a joint effort, and that's the value and the nice part of it. Is an effort from the municipality, is an effort from all hands volunteers, is an effort from Operation Blessing, is a cooperation with our friends from UNHCR looking into protection aspects, is an effort also with UNFPA. I think it's a very interesting interagency effort, everybody doing a little bit. We supported half of these houses. The other part was supported by Operation Blessing. People are already there. It's for 86 families. People are already moving. I'm coming from Tagpuro, actually, which is a very interesting neighborhood. It is nice, is ecologically viable, is sustainable in terms of its resilience. And I come in right now. I went 4 times today there.
Wow.
With different partners and friends, just to have a sense of what people were feeling about it. And I think the feeling is very positive. And now we have Cali. Cali will follow more or less the same system, more or less similar partners. In this one is All Hands, is IOM, is the municipality, and is also Samaritan Purse that's doing the wash and sanitation part, and is a project that is growing very, very well and ahead of schedule, which is also remarkable. There will be hosting there around 120 families that will have this transitional residence until the permanent shelter or the permanent housing is finished.
So the idea is that these people who lost their homes, who are living in these very vulnerable coastal areas, that they're currently living in tents still at the moment, many of them. And the idea is for agencies to build some short-term residences or homes for them in these safe areas so they can move out of the tents and into the transitional shelter while they're waiting for long-term, permanent, stable, secure shelter to be built. Is that the idea?
This is the idea, but when we say short-term, we got to be careful. These houses can last somehow 10 years and more. They're extremely resilient and extremely well done, and that's the praise of our teams that have been, as I said, working here in many disasters or after assisting and improving and learning from this. Certainly it's not permanent shelter, but what I'm saying is if ever things are delayed, we are confident that people have a decent place and I would say a resistant place where to live. That is no doubt. And basically the whole idea is last year after Haiyan, we launched a very quick operation that was called Nobody Gets Wet in Christmas. And we started distribution of emergency shelter kits and repair kits that was immense. We were having 700 people across the Haiyan affected area working on this. And now this year with our friends and colleagues from the international community all together involved, we decided to no more tents by the end of the year, and I think that's the value of all our joint intervention.
And that's a fantastic goal to aim for sure. I think we're all rooting for you on that one. Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Marco, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great to have you on the show.
My eternal appreciation for helping us so much in the work we do. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marco. Don't go away. We'll be right back, bringing you more live coverage from Tacloban City for the Haiyan Candlelight Memorial Global Broadcast. Stay with us.